Hey, everybody, welcome back. Flip the Script, Volume 3, sitting down with the man, the myth, the legend, Kyle Seibeth. We're going to talk about real estate, Century 21 Limitless, our companies, how we work together and help buyers and sellers make more money when they sell, help agents make more money when they work with us. So let's get right into it, man. This market is crazy. What's going on out there?
We are at a very, very interesting crossroads. We're in a market that's definitely been impacted by a lack of supply, mirage of interest rate hikes that have happened one after another, after another, after another, buyer fatigue and frustration, seller greed to a certain extent, and real estate professional frustration that's carried through into our clients, through our clients, towards our clients, towards our peers. It's a bloodbath.
It's cutthroat out there.
It's become cutthroat. It's a bloodbath. It's strong will survive, weak will not, weak will demise. And I think at the end of the day, it's really what do you do in this time of crises, or what do you do to battle through this?
Yeah, I think sometimes we got to hold our heads above it, right, and be that professional that they hired us to be. I was just watching you deal with a couple circumstances. I was dealing with a circumstance that just embodies all of that, like right before we started this, right?
Right.
So, I mean, for all the agents out there who are struggling right now or have had difficult transactions, I guess we could point out to them that, like, it's not just you.
Right.
It's the market that we're in, and I feel like when we started, 2009, was a 2009, 10, 11, a lot of really high producing people started then, and that was an incredibly difficult market in a different way. That was too much supply,
right.
Prices depressed, every closing was a short sale, 9 months to the table, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, man, yeah, this market is tough. You know, this market
is way
tough.
harder.
Yeah.
I'll take that any day of the week.
Because there was supply.
I'll take a lot of supply any day of the week.
So getting into it, I mean, incentive-wise, Round Housing did the grant. Mass Housing's got a grant, right?
Connecticut
Housing's got a grant. It seems like the grants are good in a way. They incentivize buyers. They get them out of their seat. They get people who maybe ordinarily might not have become homeowners into homes sometimes. On the downside, it seems like all that money they give out in grant money just goes right on to the prices, which were already too high. We already spoke about seller greed. We spoke about the overall experience. I feel like on like a federal level, if there's any feds watching this, that maybe like they should do something to incentivize sellers, like particularly 50 plus, 60 plus people.
The grants are counterproductive. We don't need any more buyer grants.
Right.
The buyer grants aren't what we need. We're in the opposite situation. We don't need to flood the market with more buyers that can't find houses. We need to flood the market with sellers that are looking to downsize or upgrade or migrate down south. So what needs to happen is there needs to be some either federal incentive as far as capital gains tax, or some sort of non-investor 1031 situation, or some sort of tax break or credit for anyone that sells their house in the next few years on their AGI. There has to be something that's done, because foreclosure is not going to be the answer. In a market where prices continue to rise up and go higher, a foreclosure market or a foreclosure in general is very obscure because there's no need.
Right.
When you bought anything from 2009 to 2021, every property you bought has equity. So there's no reason to foreclose. You can just sell it and make the spread. So what happens is now you're in a situation where is the bottleneck end, and who's the person to do it, or what is the trigger? And I think your trigger is some sort of federal incentive for sellers if that comes to fruition. If it doesn't come to fruition, more and more people need to utilize the suitable housing clause.
Yeah.
If more people utilize that clause, that would just mean more houses on the market, which would then mean more options for people to buy, which would then impact the domino impact, which would allow the velocity of homes to continue.
I agree with that. I mean, I think, like, imagine if you were, I always think about people 50, 55, 60 plus, because obviously the person who says, well, I want to move down the street because I got a pool, but I'd like to get a little bit of a bigger pool, or I'd like a little better movie room or whatever, that seller's not coming out of the woodwork right now at all. But the seller who really needs to move, a lot of times where the bottleneck is for me is, if you put a number on it, it's the 50, 55 plus crowd that would normally retire, that would normally downsize, that might leave the state. And they're getting stuck because of what is a perceived all the things you just said, so I won't rehammer it. But it's all the reasons you just said. They just decide not to move. The interest rates, they don't want to have a higher interest rate, lack of supply. So I think people like that, I mean, imagine if you could sell a house and you have a 3% interest rate right now, and you could go back instead of into a 7 into like a 5% interest rate. If they just said, look, we'll subsidize you on an ARM or something like that, where we'll give you 3 years at 5% if you fit the following criteria. Whether it would be income driven or whether it would be age driven. I think of age, honestly, because when I look at young people.
But age, you're talking of a demographic that shouldn't have loans.
Right.
At 55 and 60, you shouldn't be taking out 30-year notes.
That's
and
true.
if you're taking out loans, you should be taking out 10 or 15-year notes with lower interest rates anyway. So it shouldn't be. Compass came out with something today. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
CEO of Compass said today that he feels like, he or she, I don't know if it was a guy or girl, that they feel like by December of this year will be the turning point or tipping point when inventory starts to increase.
Okay.
And the feel was that rates will by then come down to 5%. And when rates come down to 5%, it's going to start this influx of sellers hitting the market again. And then we're going to see the normal real estate market come back in the fall. I mean, in the spring. I'm sorry.
Yeah, spring of 2024.
I've kind of been saying that all along. We're probably about 12 months out. I think that, that was probably a couple months ago. So I think spring of 24, you'll see a more normalized market with inventory. I mean, we're 4 times below where we're supposed to be. 4 and 5 times below. I mean, even more than that. We're probably closer to 7 times below.
Right.
Where we're supposed to be. So what does that impact? It impacts lenders. It impacts insurance companies. It impacts attorneys. It impacts title and escrow. It impacts mortgage insurance companies. It impacts landscapers. It impacts painters. It impacts contractors. It impacts real estate agents. It impacts hard money lender. Every single thing that can tie to real estate will get impacted. What does real estate is the biggest form of what? GDP.
Right.
So at the end of the day, this is a major thing that needs to be kind of figured out.
With regards to the interest rates, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like there's a political election coming up. And I think those two things dovetail too. I've felt all along that whoever's in power, whichever political side or structure is in power, when they go into an election cycle like this, they're going to look at things to incentivize people, excite people. Like,
right.
Look, we've developed this problem. Now we're going to roll this program out because they want votes, let's face it. And that's not a partisan statement. It's more of just a political statement. And to me, that's the way our political system works, is that around election, they always want the economic numbers to be looking up. They always want to look at something they can point to in debates like, hey, look, there was this problem, we addressed it. So for anybody looking, I mean, Kyle and I sell a lot of houses, and the thing we can all agree upon is that the problem is there needs to be incentive for sellers, because right now the people that would normally be the suppliers, existing sellers, in an era when there haven't been enough new houses built, those people have every excuse in the book to not list, and they're taking them, and then they turn on the TV, and the TV's giving them every reason not to.
The narrative needs to change.
Right.
Until the narrative changes with the general public, none of this changes. So the narrative has to go from what Compass said today to more momentum behind that.
You know where I go with that is, for certain people, right? Like the guy I said, nice family. They go, oh, we have a kidney-shaped pool. We'd like an Olympic swimming pool. We want a bigger movie room. So we're going to move 2 blocks down the street to this other neighborhood. Those people aren't selling, and they're not coming back for a little while probably until the market significantly changes, especially if they're locked in at 3% interest rate or whatever.
They're not selling because in some of those communities, there's only 5 things to purchase.
There's only 5 houses for sale. And
so what are you buying?
So I think
you look at some of the bigger, some of the more affluent parts of Rhode Island.
Right.
Barrington under 10, Lincoln probably under 10. East Greenwich under, you know what I mean?
You got more fingers than houses for sale.
Yes, that's insanity. When socket single families under 350, you're in single digits. I remember when there was 100, 80.
So sometimes when I talk to agents, I try to condition them. When you talk to sellers of houses, and if you're the seller of a house, you have to think, this 3%, 7% interest rate, this lockout effect, it applies, I think, to a lot of people. But if you're someone who has needs out of state, if you have needs in California, if you have needs in Florida, saying, oh, well, I don't want to get a low interest rate, I don't know where I'm going to move to. I always feel like I don't worship money. Money's a tool to do what I got to do in life to get more money. If I have to use it to invest, that's how, we're investing money to earn more money. It's a tool to do the things we want. It's a tool to help the things we want. It's a tool to pour back in the community, right? So I always encourage people to look at it a little bit differently. If you're using all the same reasoning that people are using when they don't want to move from South Kingstown to Narragansett or whatever, but when you got kids who are in the Midwest and you want to be closer to your kids and you're not moving for this reason, that actually hurts my heart, to be honest with you, as a person.
Right.
And I try to get through to those people that like, look, don't listen to the news. Look at the situation. We're going to get you a record price for your home. We're going to get you more money than ever when you sell it. And we're going to figure out how to help you move, even if you move from ownership into a rental in the next town where you go to. And then you rent for a while and look for a place to buy as the market and the interest rates kind of cool off. I think that's a really good strategy for people who are actually moving out of state. And I think a lot of times people who have been in ownership will be convinced that if they don't immediately go buy another house, that it's never going to happen for them. But I think sometimes when you're in a situation where you really have to move, we're trying to get people, take your money off the table, get a suitable rental. I'm a real estate agent. I hate renting too. But I would do that in this market if I were moving to a market, especially where I wasn't really familiar, figure out where I want to be in that market, work with a good agent, and then I can take my time in buying. I think sometimes when we get people to take it piece by piece and realize, look, sell your house, you're sitting on a gold mine right now, it really helps them to get over the hump.
I agree.
Yeah, so let's talk about our brokerage a little bit. I know we only got a little bit of time left, but what do we have coming up? What tools are we rolling out to really help agents combat this difficult market that we're in?
I think just providing agents with anything and everything they need, the support that they need mentally and physically and emotionally, and from a standpoint of proactive sales tactics.
Right.
We provide team processes for agents that are looking to come in and join a lead-driven team. We provide a lot of training and seminars and things that we're looking at and keeping our finger on the pulse on what's really going on out there. We provide an agent mastermind. We provide a house tour that goes on every week. We provide different resources on the lending side, on the attorney side, on the title side. We provide support on the administrative side of the business. We have transaction coordinators. We have help with everything that you could honestly need to build your own specific business.
And we'll train you how to become a real estate investor. We'll train you how to become a business person. And we'll put you in touch with people in all of those industries, not to mention covering locations. I always feel like this is a place to bring your dreams, right? If you're a real estate agent and you have a dream, and sometimes the dream might be, I just want to get a couple more acquisition flip properties a year. Agents will come, I just want to get into a place where this kind of momentum is building. We got you, right? So there's just a lot of different layers to this. I mean, I know we always hit on that every time we talk, that like a real estate company really can do all of the pieces. That we don't have to say we're only luxury, we're only
we're a full one-stop shop.
All the tools, anything you need. Absolutely.
The full toolbox.
All right, brother. This has been a great conversation.
You got anything else? You want one more?
Yeah, one more bonus question.
Go ahead. I know you got a list.
I know time's mega short. Let's see here. What are some of the biggest business opportunities you see out there right now, outside of real estate, inside of real estate? What's the one thing that anybody who wants to kind of be entrepreneurial, earn money, should be kind of learning about, getting involved in locally in the Rhode Island, southeastern Massachusetts, Connecticut area?
I think business opportunities really come down to what you have a passion for. I think what I'm interested in, you're interested in, may be two different things. I think transactional businesses are always interesting. Low overhead, any business that you can put together that has a commission basis versus a fixed cost to it. I think agriculture is a really good space right now. A lot of things with growing certain foods and produce, I think is interesting. I think if you look at the bar and restaurant business, it's really hard because of staffing, so I'm not too hot on that. I think if you look at technology and you look at any automation stuff, any automation sales, or any Amazon or Walmart or those type of stores that have automation platforms, I think are interesting. And then finally, I think if you can get into any sort of day trading mechanisms or support systems or structure, I think that's a lot of people are making money there.
So you're all about taking your commission income, figuring out different funnels where you can invest back into the community, figure out things that make sense to you. And then
I'm looking at return on effort and return on energy, ROE, ROI, right? Return on effort, return on efficiency, return on energy. And I think when I look at that, I don't look at ROE as return on equity. I look at return on effort, and I say, what's the effort I'm putting in? What's the impact I'm getting back? And I say, what's the money I'm putting in? What am I getting back?
That's a great utilization measurement tool too, because sometimes the return might be low financially and high spiritually, like stuff we do for the community. Other times it might
totally
be,
depends. I mean, depends what you're looking for. And I think at the end of the day, you've got to find what's intriguing to you, and you got to put that to play.
Cool.
Right,
so
brother.
we still on the pathway to $1 billion here?
Oh, that's what we're trying to do, man. The business, we're going to hit $1 billion in sales for the brokers. Let's do it.
Let's do it, brother.
All right, man. Yes, sir. Thank you.